Early edition. It's 9:33 a.m. on a Thursday. But that's because we're starting early today because I got to hit the road right after this. Heading down to Orlando. I'm updating the title of our show, which is all about the very best and worst plant-based meats. So that'll be fun. We talk about plant-based meats a lot, but don't always. We'll also talk about Olympians, a little more substantive.
Healthiest and least healthiest, not best tasting.
You're not talking about the Olympians now. You're talking about the plant-based meats, not the best tasting or healthiest, or least healthy Olympians. But
right, I'm talking back. I'm rolling the tape back to the plant-based meats part.
Okay.
And, the Olympians. The Olympians are exciting. Are you excited for the Olympics? Do you pay attention to the Olympics a little bit, right?
Yeah, I enjoy the Olympics. I think it's a very good, wholesome activity that we don't do enough of. Where the family sits around the TV, 1950s style, gather around, watch the program on TV, and root for your country. I think it's a good thing. I like it. And it inspires people. Inspires, I think even non-athletes get inspired by it. You'd like to see that. Yeah, someone who's the best in the world at something.
Yeah, and there's always good story. The best is when they like lock in on an athlete and do the athlete story part, and then you watch them race and they either succeed or they fail, and that's it.
It's also, if you step back and think about it, it's also a very sad thing, right? Like I think it used to be more wholesome and you could just be happy about it, that people who happen to be good at a sport would have a passion, they would do this thing, and then they test themselves against the best in the world. Now, I mean, you have to imagine almost every sport, maybe this is not true of all sports, but almost everyone, someone's setting their sights on that gold medal pretty early in their life and getting started on it. And like, I've experienced this in our life with the soccer thing, like, and then everything goes into this. And the Olympics, just because so many of the Olympic sports aren't sports that you can probably make a lucrative professional career out of, how many people just,
right.
And so, like, I mean, of all the Olympic gold medalists, how many of them are actually remembered even 4 years later, like in mainstream culture? And I'm just saying, maybe people outside of mainstream culture knowledge could still make a good living in their sport, but it just, I mean,
how many people care about being known 4 years later in mainstream knowledge?
Yeah, maybe not many. Maybe that's enough to dedicate your whole childhood and young adulthood to something, and then know that you did it.
Yeah, I mean, if you
not to mention those who fail, though, right? Who don't make the Olympic team or just don't win a medal,
right?
Like, what happens to their life after? I don't know. Maybe it's good. Maybe they develop a lot of good skills. Trust me, I've thought about this stuff a lot. That makes it all worthwhile.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It's a good question, but if you choose like speed walking or ping pong or badminton or some track sports and things like that, like you have to assume that you're not doing it for
that's
fame.
A good point. There's no hope of that becoming you're becoming a superstar and that's your career.
Right. You're just doing because you love the sport, you love the competition,
right.
Whatever. And most people probably like, I mean, I don't know. I may be totally wrong about this. My guess is that there aren't 7-year-olds training to become Olympic badminton players in 10 years.
Yeah, you're probably right about that. Maybe those kind of sports, the ones where you can't make a big living out of it, it's not a really good investment to make financially or with your time, because it's not going to pay off no matter what. Maybe those are the ones that's the soft sports, the ones that you and I could go win, Doug, if we wanted to really dedicate a few years or something.
Yeah. But you can you'll always say that you are an Olympian, even if you don't win the sport. I mean, our friend Julia Murray is a great example of that, who was an Olympic skier and didn't win a gold medal, but she's an Olympian and she's, had a successful career after that in nutrition and using the Olympic title, like Olympian title, as kind of a catalyst, I think.
Yeah.
To open
and also good. I'm glad you reminded me of her, because she did several things. She did X Games and stuff and other championships. So like, it's not like, I guess there's this tendency for me when I watch it on TV to think the Olympics is all they did their whole life. It's for this moment that they trained everything. And to an extent that may be true, but like in Julia's case, they do a lot of other stuff too. And they win and they lose and experience a ton of good stuff. So that's a good point.
Yeah. Right.
All right. Anyway,
on watching much soccer right now?
What'd you say? Am I watching much?
Yeah.
No, I haven't been watching much. I know the results of the Euros and what has been happening, so I know who's in the final and all that, but haven't watched either of the semifinal games, or almost all of them. I've watched some, but just been busy, just doing other stuff, and it's okay. I'm okay with that. It's been
nice. I watched Uruguay and Colombia yesterday in the semifinals for the Copa America.
Oh yeah.
And
who won that?
It was fun.
Uruguay.
Colombia won.
Oh, okay.
Man down. They got a red card like 40 minutes in, maybe. And still won.
Wow, that's what the U.S. did not do when they got their red card. They got that early. Yeah, that's cool. I wish I was watching more. Honestly, I don't know why I haven't, but been doing other stuff, and I guess I've watched enough soccer that I'm okay with not doing that for a little while.
Fair enough.
Anyway, you know why I'm late and sweaty this morning, Doug?
Oh, getting back from your walk?
You motivated me to do it yesterday. I honestly think had you not said that thing yesterday, I don't think I would. I was planning on not doing it today. I figured this is the end of my little run for a couple days. Yes, congratulations, Doug. Thank you for that. You deserve the credit. I mean, you do. I probably wouldn't have done it.
So are you doing this a soft day today?
Well, I don't know what I'm going to do. I think so, and that's what I set myself up so that at a minimum I'll get a soft version done. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen when we arrive in Orlando. If there's going to be something going on where I might go have an alcoholic beverage, or if there's nothing at all, and I might say, well, I'll just do another walk or something, and then chill out. I don't know what's going on. So don't know, but at least I set myself up for the potential, and I think it's good. I think a really good thing about it though is like you said, doing the soft thing is like it just sort of extends the streak, so to speak. It's not really a streak, but
momentum going.
Yeah, it just makes it not seem like there's just this hard stop now, and then it's gonna be hard to start up again. That still might happen, but at least this makes it another day that doesn't happen. So, yeah, I don't know. The more it's funny, the older I get, the more I truly understand that the streak doesn't really matter. Like being perfect doesn't matter, but it's still just so hard to fight against that urge. Like I just still have this. My first reaction is if I can't keep doing the full thing, there's no reason for me to do anything, right? It's just it's not. I'm off the track then.
Yeah. Well, but here's the thing though: is the streak doesn't matter, but consistency matters, right? Yeah. And a lot of people can't, like you said, once you start, breaking the streak or whatever, then it's so hard to get back on.
Yep.
And so that's why the streak does matter, because it keeps the consistency going.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing.
But none of it really matters. I mean, right? I mean, like, I don't know, like reaching 90 minutes a day versus 75 minutes a day.
No, right. Doesn't matter at all.
Like,
for sure.
None of it matters.
Only as like a mental construct to get you to do it, so that you build some momentum and then hopefully keep doing it. That's the part that matters. So yeah, it's just a psychological thing. I mean, I think almost all of it. But anyway, so I'm now 3 days in, plus this morning started, and did get my gallon of water drunk yesterday. I finished it really right at the deadline yesterday. It's not easy. So yesterday I was consciously focusing on it, and I still had trouble getting to a gallon. It's just not that. It's just hard to drink. So now I'm going to look up: is it actually healthy to drink?
How many like 16-ounce glasses is in a gallon? How many?
It would be 8. It's 4 32-ounce water bottles, or 8 pints of water, or 16 cups, which is double the normal recommendation.
8 pints of water. I mean, that is a lot of water. That's a serious amount of water.
Yeah, and don't they usually say 8 ounce glasses is the key?
Yeah.
So this is double that much water. So you do have to wonder, at some point it becomes too much water.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Anyway, it's not that hard. I think I'll get used to it, and just need to just remember throughout the day rather than only now and then drink water. Britter says, speaking of hard things, Hard Rock 100 starts tomorrow. That one I don't know that much about. It always sounds like a really hard one.
Yeah.
Is that East Coast? That's East Coast, right?
No, that's West Coast. I mean, it's San Juan's.
What's that?
They go over 14,000, I think, or maybe 13,000.
Give me a state.
Colorado.
Okay. You call that West Coast?
Well, not East Coast. It's not West Coast.
Definitely not East Coast. You're right.
Western United States.
And what's the difference between Hard Rock and, say, Leadville? Not as high altitude. It's still Colorado. And Leadville's a 50, right?
Well, the difference between Hard Rock and Leadville is the amount of elevation gain. Leadville is actually not that hard of a race. It's just all above, at a high altitude.
All right, you heard it here, everyone. Doug, running for Black Mountain mayor, says Leadville not that hard of a race. So he's good. He can do that no problem.
Also not running for mayor, but But yeah, I mean, I think the course itself, like if you just dropped it in elevation by 5,000 feet, it wouldn't be that big of a deal.
Right. No, I believe that.
It's just the elevation, and Hard Rock is an enormous amount of elevation gain.
Okay. All right, then how about Hard Rock versus Western States? That seems like the same apples.
Hard Rock's much higher and also more up and down. Western is net downhill.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. British says there's a 48-hour cutoff for Hard Rock, so that says something. Plus, you have to run a qualifier for it. That just sounds so much not fun.
If I was going to be only shout out to my favorite 100-mile race, 2-time finisher, never anywhere near the front. Is the only Hard Rock qualifier on the East Coast is the Hellbender 100 here in Western North Carolina.
And you didn't qualify, or you did?
I didn't become a qualifier until last year. So
okay, you can do Hard Rock.
I haven't qualified yet, but Hard Rock would be a dream race.
I think you said you didn't become a qualifier till last year. Okay, it didn't. Gotcha.
It didn't.
Okay.
Hard Rock would be a dream race for me, but I think it would be like incredibly difficult because I just can't train for that sort of elevation. Altitude.
Right. Altitude. Is there a Hard Rock cafe at the finish line? People just partying, drinking beer, hanging out with guitars.
Actually, that's named after. They bought it, and
nice Hard Rock T-shirt. Hard Rock Cafe. Hard Rock on it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we don't have too much to talk about today, luckily, so because people are so we can answer some questions. But by the way, hi to Bianca. Let's say hi to people who are here. Brandon Turner, Britters, Lady Draws a lot. Lady Draws a lot. I see that name a lot. Pops up often. She's here. I don't know if she's consistent, but it's a memorable name, memorable avatar. So today we recognize you, Lady Draws a lot. I said Bianca's here, I think. Well, we always recognize Bianca when she's here. That's one benefit of doing an early show is we get Bianca, Leslie Knight, Anna, Allie. I think I already said Britters. Navia, whose name I know, but have not seen that much, who says, I got to balance the sodium. So with the water, that would be the solution. And certainly that is the solution if I want to keep it. If I was concerned about a health of too much water, then sodium would help balance it. Which, by the way, a lot of sodium in those plant-based meats I discovered today. Well, I already knew, but saw some actual numbers today when I looked at this article and gave me pause. All right. I think that's all the people. Anna says, are Asheville, Black Mountain good areas for vegan food and run routes? Doug, is the Pope Catholic?
The Pope is Catholic, and Asheville and Black Mountain are fantastic places for vegan food. I was actually just bragging on that, thinking about that the other day. Like, the Asheville Vegan Society has an Instagram account, and they've been spending a lot of time in Black Mountain recently, and it's amazing how much vegan food there is here in Black Mountain.
Yeah, it is. For being a small place,
mm-hmm.
there are quite a lot of options. I like to dunk on it for being too small and not having enough good stuff, but it really does have plenty. Has more vegan options than Charlotte, I'd say. Total.
Wow.
That's a lot. It's probably not true, but it seems that way.
Yeah.
All right. Ritter says, do hard things, Doug. Yeah, Doug does too many easy things. So you got to go for it. And I think that's it. All right. So there you go. Any other introductory content? We got a few weather report items that are kind of interesting. And then we'll get into our Olympians and our plant meats. You ready to go?
Let's do it.
All right. First, we start with geopolitical stuff. The Hungarian Council Presidency, which I think means they're the president of the EU right now. Is that right? It rotates who's the president?
No, they have their own elected body. Hungarian, okay. What is it called?
It says it comes amid a controversial start to Hungary's turn at holding the EU Council presidency, which rotates every 6 months. So they just take turns being president. It's like playing asshole or something. Remember that game? Anyway, here's what's happened. The presidency, which is the Hungarian Council, I guess, they sent a note to EU delegations saying meat and dairy consumption is an important part of the, quote, European way of life. And what they were saying with that was that plant-based or cultivated alternatives could pose a threat to European culture. The subject is going to be discussed by ministers over lunch at the Agriculture and Fisheries Council meeting next week. Yeah, that's it. Controversial start, apparently, like I said, to their thing. They have a "Make Europe Great Again" slogan. Very original idea there
Come
that they
on.
have. And yeah. So anyway, there's people are saying they're going against the EU's core values with this whole thing. I guess they're kind of doing a Trump bit in Europe.
Do you think they call it mega instead of mega?
Mega. It's probably a better.
I don't know. I kind of like it
hat.
better.
Yeah, and it would be blue, right? That hat, because the EU is blue.
Do they even say it in English? Is English the official language of the EU? I wonder.
Yeah, it probably is, because they would all have it sort of in common. It sort of became the de facto language, which is weird because the English speaking country over there bowed out.
But yeah.
Anyway, so that's happening. Just anti-plant-based or anti-cultivated meat stuff. But like, I don't know, you can still eat meat and dairy. You can still consume meat and dairy. This important part of the European way of life, but just do it in the new cultivated way or precision fermented way. You can literally make those same molecules just in different ways now. So it doesn't seem like it would necessarily threaten the way of life, except for to the farmers. I do understand that the boom of plant-based stuff over there, that's not those things. That could be perceived as a threat, because now you're eating something that isn't authentic and real. But I don't know. It doesn't seem like such a big deal to me. All right, we got Oatly news. Everyone loves Oatly news except for me. And this one is one of my favorites, actually. They've partnered with Malibu. Everyone loves a good bottle of Malibu. The white rum coconut liquor smells like sunscreen.
Everybody.
Yeah, everybody. Even drinkers, alcoholics. Everyone loves Malibu. Partnered with Oatly to launch a dairy-free pina colada flavored soft serve with a touch of alcohol. It's called the Pina Oatlada. It's aimed at Gen Z, shocker, and it's lower alcohol than most things. It's 1.5% alcohol by volume, but I don't know how you measure ABV when you're talking about soft serve. I mean, I guess volume is volume, whether it's a liquid or a whatever material soft serve is, whatever state of matter that is. But I don't know. So it seems weird. Anyway, they're serving it at a pop-up bar in London called Paradise Arches. Light bites cocktails inspired by the two brands. Plus, every guest gets a complimentary pina oatlada and a unique glass-shaped waffle cone. So that's a nice souvenir for you. Yeah. Literally a waffle cone shaped like a cocktail glass. I'd sooner go to this than I'd go to the Miami cultivated meat tasting that we missed.
You'd go to this over the cultivated meat tasting?
Well, then you get to go to London instead of Miami, which is good. Okay. And I'd be more interested I'd be more excited to drink this than really to taste that meat. That's not true. I'd like to have tasted the cultivated meat. But as far as like just enjoyment, I think I'd enjoy this more than a piece of chicken. That's
as far as the taste, yeah, sure. But the experience, no. I mean, yeah. Like you could make this at home. Yeah. Just take some vanilla ice cream and pour a little Malibu in there, and you're good.
Yeah, but I can't get that cone, that waffle cone.
You're a sucker for a good souvenir.
It's not even a souvenir though. You got to eat it. It's still a waffle.
Yeah. I don't know. It's funny. I had a reaction to this that this is kind of dumb. But
you didn't like this one?
No, I don't know. I mean, I guess it's just like a one-off event. Like, probably they're not going to sell it. But alcoholic ice cream is a dumb idea, in my opinion.
Well, I did want to talk about that. Actually, they are going to sell it. It will become available to customers of legal drinking age, of course, at select UK bars, and then make appearances at various European festivals. So it'll be in bars, which is interesting. Who's going to go to the bar and be in the mood for a soft serve instead of whatever they were going to get? Probably a nice Guinness at the UK bar or a I don't know what's a Murphy. What's an English beer? I don't know any English beers. Anyway, it seems like an out of context thing to be in a nice pub style place and then say, "Ooh, I want that soft serve over there."
That pina colada soft serve.
Yeah. So I don't know about that move.
Maybe if it's in like a resort in Mexico or like
right, that'd be great then.
Yeah,
but even then, and this was the same problem you just said, and it's the problem I had when I read it. Like, I want a nice frozen drink pina colada, not a soft serve food that has alcohol in it. That just seems so weird to me.
I mean, it would be like you're hanging out in the afternoon, getting an ice cream, and you're like, "Oh, I'll take a little pina colada ice cream."
No. Yeah, that's like what you do on senior week at after high school. You put alcohol into your food, and if you can add alcohol to any situation, it's better.
Yeah.
And you just do it. That does seem like a weird move.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Is like there's no use case for this, in my opinion. It's a dumb idea. But I was just reading an article that our colleague Conrad shared about how the future of growth of business is partnerships between brands. And here you go. I mean, Oatly's a king at partnerships with other brands.
They do a lot of partnerships. Most of them dumb, but this one interesting at least.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and last up, very quickly, California brand Savor, Savor, not to be confused with Saber from The Office. They have made a butter prototype out of CO2 and hydrogen, and they say it offers the taste and functional properties of dairy butter. By the way, all three of these articles from Vegeconomist today. Vegeconomist, very reliable source, vegeconomist.com. I often feel guilty for reading things word for word. I try not to do that, but sometimes I do. So anyway, if you're from Vegeconomist, you would have recognized all your articles here. Repurposed. Anyway, we heard about air protein before, Doug, when they made protein out of air. This sounds very similar because CO2 and hydrogen are in the air, if I'm not mistaken. So they just didn't use oxygen here. But, kind of cool. Amazing that this stuff is happening.
Yeah, unbelievable, really.
I'd like to have that machine for like a emergency situation, something you can just crank out
food out of air. Yeah. I mean, think of how much it would cut down your grocery bill. Yeah. I wonder how much it costs. Probably costs $100,000, right? How long would it take? How much food would you have to crank out for it to be worth it?
Yeah, it's a good question. Not that much. I mean, you spend $1,000 a month on groceries, which would be very light for most people, I think, these days. It's only 10 years that investment pays for itself. Assuming the number that you pull out of nowhere is the correct cost, $100,000.
Yeah, and no maintenance, and that it can create enough variety of food that not one single piece of whatever.
Right. All right. So let's do the articles. I think let's do Healthiest Plant Meats first. That seems kind of fun, and then we'll just talk about Olympians on the way out. This was shared in Discord. You know who shared it with us, Doug?
Danielle P.
Danielle P. I know that name. She comes to our show sometimes. So thank you, Danielle, for that. This is not that new. Came out a couple months ago. I don't know how we missed it. But we did. The 10 healthiest plant-based meats and 3 to avoid. I think we can go pretty quickly through these. There's not that much to differentiate them. They do mention they say here's the criteria. What they're looking for when it comes to health and plant-based meats is they want it to be lower in sodium. They want little to no added sugar, and they want protein and additional nutrients. To me, that last one is the least important. I guess I feel like when you worry about protein and additional nutrients in these plant meats, I think a lot of times they're adding something that's supposed to be healthy into something where that healthy thing probably didn't belong in the first place or wasn't in the first place. And I just then wonder, does it actually do anything or help you in that case? When it's actually naturally there, that's a little bit different. Like if you make your thing out of jackfruit and jackfruit has some nutrients in it because it's a vegetable, or I guess it's a fruit, that's good. But I don't know. I don't get too excited when they tell me that this thing's going to give me extra B12 or something. It just doesn't.
Yeah, I hear you on the additional nutrients, but the protein seems kind of important because this is replacing a protein.
Yeah, that's a good point. The protein does sort of matter. I don't know. Like when I see that Impossible Foods and they advertise 20 grams of protein or whatever per serving, in my head, there's like just an asterisk by that. And I'm like, yeah, but it's not like I'm getting that protein from beans. But I don't know if maybe that's not valid. Like if it's, the beans come with a bunch of other good things, and they don't come with some of the downsides of these plant meats, but the protein might still be protein. And if it's made from all wheat, it's a little bit different because you get that low digestibility of the wheat protein. But, something like Impossible or Beyond, that's not the case. So yeah, I don't know. It's good. Maybe protein is protein in that case. I'm honestly not sure. But the sodium thing, like I said, that's alarming. They say here that the American Health Association recommends no more than 2,300 milligrams of sodium per day for the average healthy adult. Most adults, though, eat 3,400 milligrams per day. Back when I was in my Dr. Furman phase, I remember him saying the amount of sodium to get is the amount that just would be naturally occurring in foods from the ground that you'd be getting in nature, if that's how you were living. And he said that was like 300 to 500 milligrams per day. So that's about how much you just want. And to go up to 2,300, the American Heart Association's recommendation is almost a 5x increase over that. So I don't know. I've kind of paid attention because I like salt so much. So it's one of those things that I do try to like just keep a little bit of an eye on. And so the numbers in here, they said all their healthy picks here, except for one of them, contains less than 500 milligrams of sodium. And I guess that's per serving. But that seems like a lot of sodium in one thing, considering that's just part of your meal and you're probably adding some other condiments or whatever on there. And
in just one meal.
So like it's just you're going to be pushing the sodium limit if you're, no matter what, almost, if you're eating one of these things per day. So that, I don't know, that made me think I need to start monitoring that when I eat these things.
This is a small tangent here.
Okay.
Quick tangent. Yesterday, Eliza had, after swim practice, someone was handing out some pixie sticks to the kids, which I think that was their first pixie stick. And I mean, it is literally just a stick of sugar. Like that's literally all it is. It's sugar. And I guess it took, I knew that, of course, but like
it's colored sugar though.
What's that?
It's colored sugar though.
Colored sugar, right? Colored flavored, like it's got food coloring and sugar and maybe some sort of unnatural flavoring in it. But it took me back to, do you remember those like extra large ones that they were like 1.5 feet?
Yes. They were like plastic.
I used to house those things. Like, it's so gross, so crazy.
I know. Sugar is good though. Like if you just eat like a little bit of sugar, like I don't deal in sugar very often, but if you happen to be around a bowl of sugar and you just take a tiny teaspoon of it, it's just delicious.
Oh yeah.
I mean, just
or like a sugar cube, putting a sugar cube on your tongue, man. Oh, so good.
That actually tastes way better than me than the pixie sticks do, because pixie is like some sort of acidic flavor that's added to those things. Whereas just pure sugar is really good. But yeah, that's fine. It is funny, these foods that people eat.
Chloe got one and she was like, how do you eat it? And I was like, I guess you just kind of like dump it in. And she did it and she was like, what is this? Just like so thrilled about the whole thing.
Yeah, I'm sure. Just get a pile of sugar on your tongue.
Yeah. Anyway, all right. To the meats.
So they give 10 best and 3 worst. I don't think the best are in any order. I'm not really sure, but we'll just run through them. We'll give you the highlights if there are any. Number 1 on the list, the Impossible Light Ground Beef. They like that because it has higher saturated fat and has lower saturated fat and lower sodium, I think. And the American Heart Association, the same people who said the 2,300 milligrams of sugar thing, they give this the check, the infamous American Heart Association check. A dubious distinction. I mean, who knows what it means? Anyway, so there's I haven't had Impossible Beef Light. Have you?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, I don't know. 75% less saturated fat than regular ground beef. I don't know how it compares to the Impossible. Just 1 gram of saturated fat per 4 ounces. So that's on par with the new Beyond Meat formulation.
The avocado oil.
Yeah. So I should try this to compare to that. All right, number 2. Never heard of this one. I think I've heard of Prime Roots, but I didn't know they made a cracked pepper koji turkey. Koji, when I see that, I get confused and think that's the beef thing, isn't it? Maybe that's Kobe beef. But koji is a Japanese fungi. I don't know why I don't. Oh, it's Japanese fungi, a Japanese fungus, with the texture of traditional meat. It's free of any soy or gluten. So the koji itself is what you're eating here. I didn't realize that. I knew it was something they used in the making of some of these gourmet sort of meats, but I didn't know, or gourmet plant-based meats. I didn't know that it was the thing itself. So I'd be very curious to try this one.
Yeah, me too. Looks good.
Because you're essentially eating a mushroom then, right? You're just eating a fungus. I don't know how much processing they have to do to get this thing to seem like turkey, but kind of interesting. So,
so spoiler, I guess, meaty is not on this list. And Daniel P, when she shared it in the in Discord, called that out because that's her favorite, and she's saying here now too.
Yeah, it is odd because that would be one of the healthiest looking labels there is, assuming we trust mycelium as a good food source, which not a lot of data to say that it works for humans, because I don't think people have been eating that for a long time, but doesn't appear that it's dangerous. Yeah. Anyway, up next, Abit's Butcher ground chorizo. Abit's is a brand I've started buying again just recently. I actually just had this ground. No, I didn't. I had like a chicken. I put it in fajitas. I think it was chicken bits that were seasoned like fajitas. Anyway, you can get Publix at Publix. You can get the Abit stuff, which is the only place I can find it. Maybe Whole Foods sometimes has it.
Is it in the freezer section?
No, I don't think so. I'm not sure. No, it's over with it's in the refrigerated like part where you get the, all the plant meats and the sauerkrauts and all the cheeses and all those things.
Tofu and stuff. Yeah. Okay.
Anyway, they said they do point out that regular old chorizo, the traditional chorizo with meat, that has over 900 milligrams of sodium per the same half cup portion, whereas this one has 570. So in this case, you get less sodium than with the regular meat. Also, by the way, a little unfair when you talk about regular meat versus this meat, because people who get regular meat that has very low, maybe almost no sodium in it, usually they salt that. So who knows how much salt gets put on there. But this article sort of suggests that the plant-based companies load them up with the sodium to kind of compensate for the fact that they're not going to, in general, be as rich tasting as the meats are. So maybe there really is something to the idea that these have more than you should.
Yeah.
So there's Abbott's. Next, Daring original plant-based chicken pieces. Daring is the darling of many plant-based meat aficionados. I've noticed. I'm not that big a fan of it. Neither are my kids. We had some, didn't really finish it. Have you had it yet, Doug?
I have, and I thought it was fine. We haven't gotten it again though, so maybe not great.
Yeah, there's a strange essence or strange texture. I don't know what it is. It just doesn't. It's just weird.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was fine, but I gotta call out Eat This Not That here. Their first line here, whatever the dietary habit, there's no use in arguing that chicken nuggets are delicious.
I think they mean aren't.
They mean aren't. So I didn't even catch that the first time. That's not what I'm calling out. I'm calling out that these are not chicken nuggets. They're chicken pieces.
Right.
They're like little chicken breasts you would put, I guess, on like a sandwich or maybe or like in a stir fry or something.
Right. Yeah, you're right. And I think you could argue that those aren't that delicious. If you just had regular unbreaded chicken pieces.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
I don't think people think that's just delicious. You have to do something to it.
Here we go. Bianca's a good plant-based meat aficionado. She says the texture of Daring is too intense for her.
Like too real. That's interesting. I don't love the texture. Maybe that's the reason. I'm not sure. There's something just a little gross about it. Bianca does reference her vomiting from the meaty, which is usually what I do when we bring up meaty. I've kind of made myself stop doing that every single time.
Yeah, they're never going to sponsor us, man, if you keep just...
Right. Bianca also mentions the Yuka app. You know this app, Doug?
I don't.
Yuka? She says it gives Impossible Meats a really good score, so I've been buying them over other plant meat. So Bianca must trust the Impossible. But then you get that heme iron stuff, whatever it is, non-heme iron, which I think people don't like that. There's a cancer risk.
Yuka is a 100% independent app that scans food and cosmetic products in order to know their impact on your health.
Okay. I've used apps like that for sunscreen purposes, but not Yuka. All right. Britta says if it's not bread and fried, she's out.
Amen, sister.
You had that in common. Which, you know what? When I read the Oatly article or the Oatly thing about ice cream, I was somehow thinking Doug seems like a guy who he's just gonna like this. He's gonna like a nice ice cream, add some extra alcohol in there, just add stuff in, add to the party. That seems like your general approach to food and eating, but not with alcohol, I guess.
Not not with Malibu. Maybe if it was like a bourbon soft serve, I'd be more into it. But
yeah, right. All right, let's go faster here. The next best is Upton's Naturals Original Jackfruit. I rarely buy Upton's Natural stuff. I see it in Whole Foods all the time. It's pretty expensive, I think. And I don't really buy jackfruit much either. So kind of stayed away from this. But no surprise that jackfruit would be in the healthy list. 15 milligrams of sodium only per 2.65 ounces, which is about a fourth of the package. So that's not a small amount. They just basically don't put sodium in it, I guess. So that's pretty cool. That's good. Yeah. 1 gram of protein, 5 grams of carbs. I mean, you're basically eating a vegetable here. It's just not much calories at all, which is my problem with jackfruit, why it's never very satisfying.
Right.
But you do get 3 grams of fiber. You receive 3 grams of fiber, they say.
That's about it.
All right. And then Sweet Earth Taco Chicken. You see Sweet Earth sometimes. They're kind of a second tier player in this whole market to me. So I think we can safely ignore that one. And then Morningstar Veggie Original Sausage Patties. I generally just go right past the Morningstar stuff because some of it has eggs in it. So So I just kind of don't even look anymore. It just seems like junk food to me. But maybe that's not fair. This one doesn't. This one's vegan, certified vegan.
There's some Morningstar stuff that I'll get. Can't think of what it is, but
you could have these for your brunches.
Yeah. Maybe even these patties.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
They show it on top of a mound of eggs, which is kind of funny since it's certified vegan.
Maybe it's just egg.
It could be. All right, number 8. We all know and love the Beyond Burger new formulation patty made with avocado oil. 2 grams of saturated fat in one patty here. So assuming that's the same size as the Impossible, you actually get double the saturated fat in for 4 ounces. You get 1 gram. Let me see the Impossible, the Beyond number here.
Mm-hmm.
Beyond number, they don't tell you. They just say per 1 patty. So we don't know if it's apples to apples, but at least they're on par. So that's kind of interesting to know. I mean, I guess philosophically, you have to be a pretty big fan of plant-based meats to say that this is healthy stuff, Beyond Burgers. I mean, I don't know. It just seems so, for lack of a better word, ultra processed to me. To get plant stuff to taste like that and have the texture like that, it just, I don't know. It just seems, so they're not considering like old school veggie burgers in here. They're just going with plant-based meats.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I never think of this as a health food when I pick it up. So to call it, I guess they're calling it the healthiest of these. They're not saying it's a health food, but anyway, Light Life Smart Bacon, another one that I generally just ignore. I think I've had this product before, but Light Life also, I just feel like I can't be sure that it's vegan, so I just tend not to even check if it is.
I can't eat these bacon strips anymore because during a 100-miler, during a Hellbender, which is wonderful that they did this, but a couple of the aid stations had this,
mm-hmm.
and because they also had bacon, and then they had like a whole vegan bacon thing, but it was severely undercooked, and I just like was very hungry and just went to town on it, and it just made it like flipped my stomach so bad. It was not good.
You think if it would have been cooked, it would have been better?
I don't know. Probably not. It was probably the fact that I was just eating a bunch of oil. I don't know. After like 60 miles and 16 hours of being awake.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that situation aside, they act like it's pretty healthy. Not a ton of sodium. Well, per 2 slices, there's 290 milligrams. So if you're going to eat a lot, more than 40 calories worth, you are going to get some sodium. But only 2 grams of fat and less than 1 gram of carbs. So not too much in these things. But you ate more than 2 slices, it sounds like, that day.
Yeah. No one was eating it, so they just like gave me a big plate full, probably like 6 or 8 of them, and I was just like shoving it in my mouth.
All right. Well, they point out here that it's made by a carbon neutral company. I didn't know that. And they're much lower in sodium than traditional bacon. And then they say the smoke flavors are from solely natural sources. There's no liquid smoke here. The colors, for example, are derived from paprika. Actually, I don't know for sure that liquid smoke is not considered a natural source. It might be. I was thinking when I read this that the smoke flavor came from smoked paprika, but now I don't think that's the case. Anyway, on to the next. Gardine plant-based meatballs. These are actually pretty good. I've never bought this package, but I told you about those Gardine frozen meals that I get now and then. Or I got once on a previous trip, and then I got them again on this past trip of mine at the beach. It's like the Gardine, I don't know what they're called, but it's a bowl of pasta noodles with spinach and tomato sauce and like 5 or 6 of these meatballs, and they're pretty good. Like they just, I don't know. In that context, they taste really good.
We get these. I like them a lot. They're very good. Mm-hmm.
Well, they're soy based, which is not necessarily a bad thing. Could be, depends.
Nah.
Yeah, but it's not just soy. It's not tofu. It's not edamame. It's textured soy protein, which is I don't know, iffy to me. But I don't know. Anyway, standard kind of health profile here, nutrition profile. Gardine founded the idea of Meatless Mondays. You know that?
Oh, no, I did not.
That's what it says. All right, quickly, the worst. This is one that I get fairly often, or at least a cousin of this. The Gardine Ultimate Plant-Based Chicken Wings. That's listed in the worst. I haven't gotten the plant-based chicken wings, but I've gotten their ultimate brand of chicken tenders, chicken patties, and I don't think I've ever gotten the buffalo one, but this is, and I assume these are very much similar to the regular fried Gardine things that aren't ultimate, but they're still the Gardine ones.
Yeah, right.
I assume it's the same product, basically. Anyway, these in six of these little wings have 890 milligrams of sodium, so that's pretty high. And
that could be the sauce.
It could be the sauce. So this article said there was one exception to the 500 milligram thing. Is there exception in one of the negatives? I mean, that's not an exception. That's a totally consistent with what they said.
No, I think it was the Abit's.
Oh, okay. Abit was high, but because it was so much lower than the regular chorizo. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, so there's that's ultimate. I mean, I don't know. That made me think twice, I guess, about buying these again. Otherwise, I don't see any problem with these compared to the others. It's just the sodium that is a problem. A lot of carbohydrates, including sugar, 13 grams of sugar. That's the sauce, though. So I'm okay with there if we just get our normal one. All right, next, corn meatless gourmet burgers. Never bought these. Never considered buying these.
Because they're not vegan.
Oh, they're not?
No, and that's what they call it out, which I thought was kind of a lame thing to do.
Why?
May not necessarily be bad, but we want to point out that corn's products are vegetarian rather than vegan. Many of corn.
Lame because what? They're getting out of the nutrition thing and saying this is an ethical issue?
No, I just like it's an article about plant-based burgers or plant-based meats, and this is not a plant-based meat. So
plant-based is so ambiguous that I don't know. You can call somebody or something plant-based.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay.
I don't know. It's an ambiguous term. Anyway, they just mainly they're pointing out the badness here is the. So I guess it's like they made the worst list because it is vegetarian rather than vegan.
Right.
Even though they say right above there they're not necessarily bad. But so basically they said because they're not vegan, bad. Makes a bad list. Interesting. And finally, the other worst, Morningstar Farms veggie corn dogs. I would have assumed these aren't vegan either, but I guess they are. I had some veggie corn dogs made by Field Roast, I think. And I'm sure those weren't very healthy, but they were good. And I have never bought them again. I just didn't feel good after eating them.
I mean, there's no way that you would eat this and think that it's healthy. Right? You eat this because it's a treat and something fun to eat.
Right. Yeah, exactly. The problem here, I guess, is the enormous amount of carbohydrates, including some sugar. Otherwise, the numbers are right in line with the other stuff. But you're eating a whole lot of cornbread, basically, when you do this. So there you go. So stay away from those. I mean, weird list, right? Because their worst stuff wasn't the same class as everything else. It was fried with a barbecue sauce on it of some kind. It was the non-vegan burgers that only didn't make the list because they're not vegan, or made the worst list because they're not vegan. And then these corn dogs. So they didn't. I'd like to see a list that looks at like only the stuff that's in the best and puts those good to bad. Like, is the beyond impossible good or is that bad?
Right.
No one knows. That's the problem. It's just a debate. Okay. We promised you Olympians. Should we read the Olympians really quick, Doug? I mean, there's not a lot to say about them, or should we just save that to closer to Olympic time? We didn't put it in the title of the show, so maybe we don't have to do it.
Yeah, let's save it for Olympic week.
Okay. When's that?
Which is when? Now? Like 2 weeks?
Yeah, we'll save it for then. I think it's about 2 weeks away.
Okay.
All right. We'll do that. Or next time we don't have something to talk about. We'll save it for then.
Oh, there you go.
All right. Well, appreciate those who showed up at our early show. I see there's a lot of comments here. I wish I had time to get to them.
Lots of love for different various foods.
Okay. Let's look at it. Abit's.
Morning, Navia. Sorry about that. So the Morningstar said that they would be vegan by 2020, but they never did. So then I skipped them.
Is that right? I didn't know they said that.
And then some love from Bianca and Navia for the ribs, for Morningstar ribs. which
so even though she loves them, she's no longer.
Well, I miss them. I guess like maybe that's an old.
She stopped. Look at that. So she sticks to her guns. They don't keep their word. Corporate accountability.
And then some love for vegan bacon at ultramarathons.
Is that a thing? I didn't know that happened ever.
Well, that they should do it. That it sounded like a good idea.
Oh, okay. And obviously she loves Gardine. I don't know a lot of people who love Gardine. Do you love Gardine, Doug?
I mean, I get those. I mean, honestly, those meatballs are probably one of the things we get the most of all plant-based meats.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna have to start buying those meatballs and giving them a try. I mean, I've had them in that one dish, but I generally avoid the Gardine stuff. A long time ago, I had Gardine early days of them, I think. And I had like the grilled chicken that wasn't fried or anything, and the grilled or the beef tips or whatever those things are. And like they just didn't have, when they didn't have breading and stuff on them, I just tasted it and I just didn't like it. And it turned me off, and I've kind of forever not bought that brand since then. But I'm sure they've reformulated things, and I don't know. So I should give them a try. I'm gonna get these meatballs while I'm in Orlando. I'm gonna buy that package and cook them up. Okay. Well, Leslie muted the Tour de France to watch us. Very nice. I didn't know that was happening right now.
Good thing you got another like 5 hours of tour to watch for the day. So.
Yeah, and like a whole another month of it too, probably.
I've been following the tour this year. It's been fun to watch. Yeah.
Once Lance Armstrong is out, I'm out. I don't have anybody to root for. I don't know any cyclists. And you know the real reason I don't watch it? I don't want to support bicycle riding.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, you hate bicycle riding, even if it's on a closed course like that.
Yeah, remember that guy fell that one year and hurt himself really badly? The vegan guy, or he was nearly vegan. I think he was eating salmon still, but this was early days and it was a big deal. I think he was Brendan Brazier's friend, and he fell and broke his wrist or something. Closed course, different situation. I'm actually okay with that.
Okay. That's good. Yeah, Matt, have a good time in Orlando. Hope everybody has a wonderful weekend. Yeah.
Yes.
Cool. Have fun.
By the way, just early heads up. I checked the times, some of the times that I have for the games. I think Tuesday and Wednesday next week should be total normal time shows.
Right.
No, wait. Tuesday is normal. I think Wednesday won't be normal and maybe won't happen at all. And then we could maybe do Thursday, Friday.
Okay. But Tuesday will be normal.
Tuesday will be normal. Then we'll let you know what the plan is for the rest of the week.
Sounds good.
Okay.
I look forward to it. All right. Don't forget your expression, Matt.
Oh, yeah. I got to do an expression about the best and the worst plant-based meats. What would be my emotion about that? Surprise? Shock and surprise? It's my normal one. All right.
All right. Bye, everybody.
All right. Bye.